What's up guys, my name is Angelo. Today we're talking to my friend Tomas Kovac, who at a young age of only 23 years already has a net worth of over 560,000 euros. We talk about his investments and asset allocation, so you'll see exactly how much money he has invested where, including a bit of peer-to-peer lending and why he chose specific platforms there. We also talk about how much he's currently earning in passive versus active income, some of the perks of living in Switzerland, as well as his take on financial independence and minimalism. I've been thinking about introducing you to more people that inspire me when it comes to finance or that reached a certain level of success in my eyes, so I hope you'll enjoy the first video of this series. Before we get into it, if you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you'd like to support me or Thomas, you can find all the links in the description below. Alright, let's get started. So I'm here with Thomas, Sparkojote. Tomas Kovac, right?
Yes.
So I remember a couple of years ago, I first discovered your German blog, sparkojote.ch. When I was reading more German blogs, I was inspired by your young age and by the investments you already had at that age. And then last year, we met for the first time at the PeertoPeer conference in person. And sadly, this year didn't work out, the Invest conference in Stuttgart. I think you were also planning to go there.
Yes.
And the PeertoPeer conference was also canceled, sadly. Something I found inspiring about you was that you're really young, your mindset, your work ethic, and that you were able to, apart from the finances, that you were able to accumulate so much at such a young age. You're really focused and hardworking, and so it's really impressive. And you even started your own company now, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe thank you for the introduction at first. But my English is really it's rusted because 2 years ago when I worked still at UBS, I spoke a lot of English, but now it's you don't speak as much English anymore when you work with more German people, right? And yeah, I mean, your introduction is pretty much right. I have a personal finance blog, also YouTube channel, but this is one of my businesses, the company you mentioned, which I made last year basically because it was as self-employed over 1.5 years, and then I made out of it a company, which is now a GmbH, right?
Yeah, limited basically.
So, or limited, exactly.
Yeah.
And I also have I own an online shop where I sell trading card games, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, also sealed products, also single cards. So I sell those cards, and it's basically two business which I have, and both are running pretty well. I also can tell especially the last few months were pretty crazy. It's in German we have a saying Glück im Unglück, which means you have luck when you have bad luck, right? Because for most of the people, Corona was pretty a heavy hit. But if you had only online businesses, it was basically you just got lucky, and I'm really thankful for that. And it's running pretty well. I also do, like you said, investing into stocks, also P2P lending a small bit. Also, I have in my portfolio gold and silver a bit. And also a lot of my money goes right back into my business. So most of my investments are either in my business or they are withheld as cash for liquidity. All right.
Yeah, so that's probably something that also that's a difference to you and from you and a different normal investor is that you have your business, and of course you need more cash reserves to be able to cover the fixed costs and all these things, and also with the cards and all these things with the inventory you need more cash available, right? So just something to keep in mind when people look at your asset allocation. That's also part of the reason why. So how old are you? Did you mention that already?
No, I'm currently 23 years old, but in 2 weeks I will be 24, and I will be then 2 years fully self-employed, or you can say doing my own business. So it's really nice and it's going well. I'm pretty happy about that, but it takes a lot of effort and work. So the last 3 or 4 months, I took the time because you had a lot of time at home, and I work from home. But now it's in my office, which is basically just I need to go to the elevator and then I'm in the office already. But I took the time to really dedicate the time to my businesses, and I worked basically the last 4 months every day, 10 hours a day. So I didn't do any weekend, so I worked through it. But now I notice even if you like what you do, it's still you need some free time, you need to relax sometimes. So starting from July. So in 2 days, I will have basically every Monday, I take it as a day off. And it's kind of also a statement, people don't like Monday when they are in the 9 to 5. And it's just for me a statement, I can take off Monday because I can, right?
Yeah.
So it's just for me, for my mindset. And even like Sunday is like the most hardworking day then for me. So I reversed it basically. But I like what I do. So yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to take days off when you're self-employed. You really have to be strict and not look at notifications, all the emails, and it's not easy. Yeah, I'm struggling with that as well, just to turn it off completely. And so at 23 years old, how much do you have in investments? Do you want to share that part? So I think that would be
Yeah, sure. I have like it already prepared before our call. So basically, I have currently like the or status of end of June. I'm currently owning around about 600,000 like all the assets, or my net worth is 600,000 Swiss francs, which is around about 550,000 euros, right? Around about that. But it's not only cash, obviously. So it's divided in my asset allocation through a few things. But almost 1/3 of it, like 28%, is invested into the stock market through ETFs and single stocks, like companies. And most of it is like in single stocks. I have just a small amount of ETFs because I like stock picking. And but I want to say, my goal is not to make more,
the market.
not to outperform the market, but I really do like investing into single stocks. It's like kind of a hobby of mine. So I really like it, even if I don't make more return than the market itself. So it's just my thing. Then I have like 2 to 3% in gold and silver of my whole asset allocation. Just a small bit of crypto, which it says me 0%, but it's just under 1%. That's why it says here 0%. Then I have 4% in P2P lending, which I want to have at about 5%. This is like my sweet spot. So there's 1% still missing. And then I have around about 20% in the stock for my web shop, like in trading cards, retro games, and those kind of things, which is quite a lot actually. So if you take 20% of 600,000, it's like over 100K, right? So 125,000, I think, or something about that, is invested really into like those kind of things. And the selling value is obviously higher because I need to take the value where I bought it at, right? From like big suppliers or in the wholesale or wherever, right? And then I have around about 46% in cash, which is basically more than 250,000 in cash. So before I need it for like liquidity. And from starting July now, I will fully employ my girlfriend. She will work full-time for me. She gets a full-time salary and everything. So, and I also give myself a salary, right? And I need this, I need this cash because you never know what happens, right? And at some point you do some investments for your businesses. And that's why I think it's usually not normal to have that much cash, but if you have a business, it's probably a good thing to have that much cash.
Yeah, I mean, you probably get way higher returns from your business than from investing the money and getting 7% per year or something like this. That's the reason why you can take advantage of opportunities, probably especially now in the crisis when people are low on cash because they lost their job, and you can take full advantage of that.
Yes.
Something that I think would be interesting to know is also, if let's say you didn't have this business and you had 500,000 euros investment or something, then how would you split that up if the business was out of the equation? If it was just about investments and you had a 9 to 5 job somewhere?
So back then when I had the 9 to 5 job and I worked full time at UBS, I was like in the IT and worked for databases, especially products of SAP I used and worked on. I had around about, I think it was 10 to 20% cash, right? Usually. And if I went under 10%, I tried to get back to at least 10%. And I didn't want to go over 20%. And so I would still probably do it like that. So if I would be now employed normally again, and I have 600,000, probably 60,000 I would have in cash. Around about 10% is like the minimum I would like to have. But since I have the business and everything, and there's like higher costs and there's maybe some opportunities, and like you said, you have a higher return on the money you invest into the business because you have more control over it. And especially what I didn't understand really pretty long is a lot of big companies, they cannot do like 100% per year. It's not possible because they are too big. If you take Apple, Alphabet, or any other company, they are so big, they cannot do like, they cannot double in 1 year. It's not possible.
In 2 years, maybe the last couple of years.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? So it's really hard. But if you're starting a business out, or maybe in the first 5 years, it's pretty easy to double or triple your business just in 1 year, right? And that's why the return is a lot higher and more reasonable to do in like a smaller business or a business you start, right? But in the beginning, I didn't understand that really. But when I saw how a business can grow when it's small, it's basically like, for example, the blog and YouTube channel. When I started it, in terms of revenue, I made in the first year of blogging 100 francs in the whole year. And I posted pretty much every third or every fourth day a blog post. In the second year, I made like 900 or 1,000 or something like that. So basically 10 times more than the first year. In the third year, I made around about 60,000, which is 60 times more than the third, like in the second year. And the fourth year, which is not finished yet, I cannot tell the exactly number because there are some numbers I cannot share, but it's probably more than 10 times more than the third year, right? In terms of revenue, which is kind of crazy. And this is not possible if you just only invest into stocks, right? This is I mean, there is some possibilities, you never know, but it's, so that's the thing.
Yeah, I'm amazed by how good you are at monetizing your work as well. Like you're really good, also focus on the Swiss community, and you find partners, you call banks, and so you can work together with, like, that's super impressive to me, especially at such a young age. And I think this networking skill is really important as well. So
I mean, it's one of the most important things, I think, is like to network with other people, right? Because in the end, what you need to understand is, I think, especially for the viewers here, you do business not with companies, you do business with people.
Yeah.
Because, and in the end, you cannot speak to a company, you always speak to someone. You need to see that person as a person and not as a company. I mean, sure, this person represents the company, but still it's a person, right? And that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand that, I think, and that's why it's hard then to communicate with the persons, right?
I think only recently you said, okay, now I'm getting so many comments, I can't reply to every single one. But for the longest time, you were replying to every single person on Instagram, on YouTube, etc. Sure. And as your viewership grew, I'm sure it took a lot of time, but it's similarly to the Gary Vaynerchuk mindset, where you also respond, you try to be personal with every single person, and you don't want an assistant to reply for you. And so, yeah.
So exactly like you said, but like the thing is, there is some point where you have to say, okay, now it's enough. If you are 2, 3, or 4 hours sometimes a day, answering comments, emails, direct messages on Instagram, there's some limit to it, right? And for example, I still try to answer, but the answers are usually shorter than back then, right? Because the thing, it's really hard to find the right spot, because I do know, for example, that there's sometimes even just 1 or 2 sentences which some people hear from me when I write them back a direct message. It helps them already to get the motivation to do their thing, right? But it's like, especially on YouTube, I answered everything, and now I stopped doing that, and now I just answer the things that especially want something or have a question, right? And it's not just like, oh, hey, this video is cool, right?
Yeah.
And then I try to answer the questions that could help the people. But it's a hard thing. Like, it hurts me that I cannot answer. I mean, I could, but at some point you burn out. If you, like, 8 hours a day, you just answer comments and questions, like, you burn really fast out.
Especially if you get really long comments or long emails that are complicated to reply to. It's very nuanced. Yeah, that can take a lot of time. I get it.
I started doing videos for that. If I get a long question, I just make a video out of that. I read the whole question, the whole mail, or maybe if it's something like specialized to censor the name, right?
Sure.
But then I read it and then I can do a video about it. And I send the person instead of answer, hey, I made a video about your, and it's even a better answer, right? And a lot of people also can get the benefit out of it because a lot of people are probably in the same or in a similar situation.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
the person
Something I
gets
tried.
an individual answer, right?
As far as your stocks are concerned, you mostly invest into stocks, but you recently added ETFs as well, right? As far as I understood.
Yes. Yes. So basically, I started now since April, I think it was, or since April or March, I started to invest into one ETF, specifically the Vanguard FTSE All World, which is basically
Yeah, that's mine as well.
yeah,
My main.
so it's basically covering almost everything. But I took the distributing version, which generates cash flow because I mainly focus on cash flow. The thing is, I don't need the money now, right? But because I'm in a position where I would say I get peace of mind if I get money now, right? And this peace of mind is worth for it to me that it's not the perfect solution tax-wise and everything else, because I don't generate my wealth through my stock portfolio. It keeps my wealth, and long term it generates wealth, but in the short or midterm, I create my wealth with my businesses, right?
Yeah.
And the return on my businesses are the reason why I can invest 10K into stocks every month, or into trading cards I can invest 20 to 30K per month, right? So otherwise I couldn't do that. If I just would have the stock portfolio, I wouldn't make those kind of earnings every month, right? So that's the thing for me. Like stock market or capital investments are for me keeping the wealth at the level and long term growing it. But like generating the wealth is like the active effort of building a business or working in your job and learning new things, etc., and so on, right?
Yeah, I also chose the distributing version of that because for me it's also motivating to see the dividends increase over time, and I think you're also big on that. Of course, this might not be the most tax efficient solution, or even though it depends on the country by country basis, and we also don't know the future taxation laws. So it could be that, for example, for me in Austria, that they increase the dividend, they increase the capital gains tax from where it is today. And then in the future, I would have to pay more tax on what I didn't realize now via dividends. We don't know. We don't really know. But yeah, for me, that's motivating as well. And I think that's something that some people forget. They think, okay, of course, on paper, it looks more efficient, easier. Why would you do that? But when you're there and the market is crashing and you see a minus and you didn't, like, it's different. If in that situation, you're still getting monthly payments, and it's definitely motivating to invest, to keep investing. Yeah.
I mean, for example, if we look into the months where the stock market really went down, I had still dividends, but now there's some like cuts, like fell or something like that. But still, like in June, there was like over 360 francs in dividends and how is it called, interest, right? Maybe, or even in April, I had 1,250 francs in dividends and interest, which is kind of a lot. I mean, I need to live privately without the business. If I wouldn't have the business, I need about 2,000 francs per month to live.
And that's in Switzerland, which is very impressive.
That's Switzerland. Like people are telling me, like, are you living under a rock or whatever? But like, you don't really need much, and I mean, with the business, obviously more because I have some freelancers that work for me and so on. But if I wouldn't have the business and just would live like for me, right, and I wouldn't be having the business, then it's just 2,000 francs per month, excluding taxes, right? Because taxes depends on how much you earn. If you don't earn anything, you just pay 24 francs in taxes per year, right?
Wow. Yeah, in the future, maybe then if you just live off of income from investments, then you can use the lower tax rates as well, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you will be taxed for that, but then you will use obviously lower tax rates. And just for example, here where I live, if I earn 70,000 per year, like net income, I pay like 8% or so on that. So if I get through dividends like 70,000 francs, basically, and that's my main income, like I don't have any other income, I pay like 8 to 10% round about that, and that's it, right?
That's
because
amazing,
it's in lower tax bracket. But in Switzerland, it's like, I think it's 250,000 or depending on the canton, 250,000 where you pay most of it. So basically now I pay 1/3 of it. So 1/3 of my profits goes away in taxes. So if I earn 1 million in this year and it's profit, then I pay like 300K in taxes.
Yeah, that's pretty good compared to Austria and Germany. So
so yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. There's some like I thought about it if I would move to somewhere else to save some taxes, because there is in Switzerland places like Zug or Schwyz, Canton Schwyz, and there it's about 27% or so. Right, so you save still a lot. You save a lot actually when you try to look where you want to live in Switzerland. I mean, I calculated for me, if next year the business is still growing well, then even renting a place there additionally and living, it's like I could still have my office here, but rent there to live there, and I would still save more on the taxes than I would pay for the rent there, right? Which is kind of crazy. Right,
yeah,
so.
it's nice you have this tax competition within the country.
Yes, it's the best thing ever, I think.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You said right now you want to have up to 5% of your net worth in peer-to-peer lending. And what are the platforms that you're using right now, and what's the reason for that?
So I'm using at the moment Bondora, but only Bondora Go and Grow, Mintos, normal one, not Invest and Access, and Estate Guru, and also one Swiss platform which is called Cashshare. And like for me, P2P, it's kind of, especially if it's in different countries. Like, I mean, if you are on Mintos, you invest into Russia or whatever countries there are, right? And for me, it's like kind of, I compare it to junk bonds a bit, right? There's a pretty decent like you get a pretty decent return when everything works out, right? For me, like 5% is the max I want to go in. So if I have 1 million by the end of the year, then it's like 50K I invest into P2P, right? Because then worst case, just 50K are like gone. But I think there's pretty much a risk, but I think it's still something you can try, right, with a small amount of your money. And that's why I do it. And there's no special reason why I choose those platforms. One of the main reasons is just like of how big they are. I wanted to go to the big platforms because
they have proven themselves over time
already.
Yeah,
they have proven themselves, and like they have like
track record,
decent amount of customers, right? Which if I mean, I don't want to say that they cannot be scam, but the probability is probably higher that it's not a scam, right? Because in P2P, in the past few months, you also saw there are some scams and whatever. And mostly or a lot of times it's a smaller platform if you compare it to like Bondora or for example, Mintos, right? And that's the thing. And here, especially in Switzerland, for example, I think the regulation is a lot harder, right? And also there's some special thing about how you call it, debt here. Basically, if I lend money to someone, if I lend it or if I lend it through peer-to-peer lending or crowd lending, you cannot, I don't know how it's called in English, but in Germany it's Privatinsolvenz, right? You cannot do that here in Switzerland. It's not possible. That's not a thing. That's not existing here. So basically,
so you can declare personal bankruptcy.
You have it forever. You have it forever. Like, I mean, after 25 years, the one who still owned money, he needs to say, hey, you have still debt. You need to pay me that back after 25 years. And then again, so it's basically you have this debt forever, right? Which I think is a pretty interesting thing. But the other thing is you don't have that much interest when you invest into like a Swiss platform. You have maybe like, if it's really good, like 6-7% on average or something like that, maybe just 5, which is not comparable to like Bondora or Mintos or Estate Guru, right? Because you have maybe something in 14% or more or something like that. Right?
Is that platform also open to other European investors or just Swiss
investors?
Yes,
it is. But you need to have a Swiss bank account at the moment, currently. But they are working on that. So I was in their office. I looked onto how their process is and so on, because it was interesting for me to see that on how a Swiss platform does it, because I also saw it at Bondora and Mintos, right, a bit. So, but it works here differently, and also it's like there's more regulation on it, because there's some Swiss standard, right? Even if it's a fintech, but there's some higher regulations here, and they look especially the how you call it, like with the debt. I really think it's special that you cannot default on your debt, which is really nice as an investor, right? From
Yeah,
investors.
I think regulation is very important. It's also something that I think we're going to see more and more. And you have some platforms that are already regulated, but you have a lot of unregulated platforms still. But already this year, I think some platforms announced that they're going for a brokerage license, like via Invest, for example. And we're going to see others as well. And I think that's going to help a lot for investors also to choose what's trustworthy. And okay, there's like they're double checking the numbers and everything. So that's very interesting. By the way, for Cashier, is that the name that you said? We can use your link. We can put that in the description for maybe somebody from Switzerland is watching, or if you have a Swiss bank account or something, might be interesting.
I mean, just for disclosure, I can tell you how much I invested in all 3 platforms, right? So I have it, numbers are in Swiss francs. So in Bondora, Go and Grow, I have 7,800 francs. In Cashier, it's 6,700. Estate Guru, it's 4,700. And Mintos, it's 5,000. All numbers in Swiss francs. So it's round about almost 25,000 at the moment in P2P. By the end of the year, I'd like to have at least 30,000 in this asset class, which should average about out, because of how I split it before tax, around about 2,700 in interest. 2,700, around about that. Yes.
Yeah, for me also the cash flow aspect of peer-to-peer lending was very interesting, and also one of the reasons why I started investing, why it was so interesting to me. But like the current crisis was just the worst thing imaginable, and so even platforms that were more stable got into more and more issues. And just nobody could have expected the whole world to shut down. Like you diversify on Mintos, you think, okay, I'm gonna invest all over the world, and then just everything closes and you see the same. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But on the other hand, after this crisis is over, like in a year or something, we can look back and say, okay, nobody can say anymore that peer-to-peer lending hasn't been through a crisis, because this is pretty much the worst thing that could happen. And so it's going to be a good experience to look back on and to learn from. I think you might even already have enough in investments where you could just live off your investments, right? I think you reached that point recently.
So basically, there's this Trinity study, right? With the 4% rule. I think everyone knows that, which is in the finance community, regardless if it's German, Swiss, or American, or whatever. With 600,000 in asset or my net worth, right? I could live off the 4% rule already, but I have not all invested. Like almost half of it is in cash, which is not generating any income whatsoever, but like the opportunity cost for me is fine, because I can use this money for projects in my business, which is more important, which give me more return than the stock market or whatever, right? So in terms of number or net worth for my current lifestyle, I'm already financially free, basically. If I would invest everything into something that generates a passive cash flow for me, right?
At 23 years old, that's very impressive.
Yeah, but in reality, I can tell you how much of my money does or create a passive cash flow. It's around about 1/3 of my wealth, right? So I actually only have around about 200,000 invested in something that generates me like a passive income. So they're still missing 400K invested in this specific areas, stocks or real estate or P2P lending or whatever. So in theory, yes, but in reality, not yet. So I do think, I mean, you never know what happens in life, right? But if it runs well for the next 2 or 3 years, I basically have never to worry about money again in my whole life. Even if I have a family with a few kids or whatever and want to still live in Switzerland, so I would never have to worry anymore. But I mean, you never know what happens in life, right?
Imagining that even if that were the case, like you would keep working because you enjoy what you do.
Yeah. I enjoy the work too much. So like I said at the beginning, I need to pressure myself to take a day off or something like that, because I know it's probably even more productive to take the day off, because then you're more refreshed and you're more energized and so on. Even if at that day off, you really want to work on your project you're just working on, right? So what I think, I know I cannot imagine not to work at all on some projects. That's not possible for me. It would be boring.
Yeah. After 1 or 2 weeks on the beach, you want to do something and create something.
Yeah,
I get
that's
that.
true.
Yeah, that's this thought of financial independence where you're done. Okay, I don't have to work anymore, and then they just imagine you're just gonna keep traveling and just vacation all day, but that gets boring really fast. And it's much better to find something like you're doing that you would do also if you already had that goal. So it's a really good mindset to have. If you already have some FU money saved aside, and so you don't have to worry for the next couple of months or for a year, and then you can focus on finding a job or working on something you enjoy. I think that's really important.
So what I recommend is basically don't build a life around your career, right? Like build a life around what you like, and that should be your career, right? Not the other way around. Because a lot of people do it the other way around, and then they split like this is free time, this is fun time, this is not so fun time, right? Because they have to work the 9 to 5 or whatever, but maybe they earn a lot of money, but it doesn't make any sense. For example, like I noticed for me, when I would reach a certain point of income per month, I need to do things I don't really like and don't want to do. And it's money, like I don't really need that amount of money, right? So just for example, I'm happy with earning 30K per month, 100K per month, or 50K per month. But I noticed if you earn more than that in the area I am, then you need to start doing stuff which you don't really want to do to earn like 150 or 200K or 250K per month. And then the thing is, do you want like the extra 100K or 50K per month and do something you don't like, or you're happy with your 80K or 70K? Sounds a bit stupid per month, right? Sounds stupid, but you need to know like where's your sweet spot. And I noticed, okay, I'm moving away from my sweet spot and I don't need the excess money. I would earn more, which I would get, because like even 50K per month or 30K per month is plenty of enough, right?
Yeah,
So that's
true.
the thing I noticed. And you can make the same game with 5,000 per month and 10,000, and you like it at 7,000, but 10,000 is like you hate your job, right? But 7,000 is the sweet spot, and you do the stuff you like, and you can still live and save and so on. And then probably 7K is the sweet spot, and round about that you should move around, unless the sweet spot changes, right?
Yeah, I agree. Even also, people that are earning more money, they have rich people problems, and they always think still of they're afraid of losing money. Like you always have some
Yes,
issues, and you have to protect it,
exactly.
and just
Yes.
different problems.
But they
Sweet.
feel the same like the existential problems. They feel exactly the same, even if they are not like on a macro level the same. Because if you cannot get food, you're dying,
Of course.
right? But like it still feels the same if you have the first world problem. It feels the same for the person, even if the outcome is not you're going to die, right?
Yeah.
But it feels the same, and that's the important thing, I think, which we shouldn't ignore and say, yeah, it's just first world problems. Then most of the time you're going into a way that you're maybe unhappy then, and then you think about it, hey, why did I 10 years do this, but it didn't give me any happiness, nothing fulfilling, right? So it's you need to think about those kind of things.
At least in the past, you were very frugal, and you're sort of a minimalist as well in your lifestyle. I think also with your girlfriend as well. Did you change your spending since you started earning more?
So for my private life, I can say like if like for my where I sleep and so on, and no, not really. I still spend like 2,000 francs per month, right, for my basic living and everything. But the thing is, and that's the thing, minimalism doesn't work everywhere, especially in business sometimes, right? Because you can have everything minimalistic, but there is then some, like for example, I now have a webcam, right? A Logitech StreamCam, which costs around about 200 francs. But I have a perfectly fine iMac with a webcam integrated, but the quality of this is usually better, especially when I stream. And now you're in a dilemma. Do you want to have a duplicate, right? Or do you want to have not a duplicate and worse quality for your streams, for example? And then as a business, I would say I want the better quality, but as a minimalist, I don't want the webcam on my iMac. It doesn't look so nice anymore. But like then you say, okay, but it's for business and you want the business to like get better quality, grow and so on. So you need to compromise on that part, right? So yes, I'm still living minimalistically, but for the business, especially if I do need or want to take investments to make better quality, I do it. regardless if it's a duplicate or not, because I have also multiple microphones, right? This is for like when I'm sitting, or this is when I'm on the go, like a lavalier mic or whatever. So, but if I'm just minimalistic, one mic is enough. But like for the business to have the best quality in the specific scenario, sometimes you need more mics, more cams, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of fight inside my head. Yeah.
But you're not like our friend Bernhard Hummer, who likes to stay in nice hotels that are quite expensive sometimes when you travel. Do you still stay in Airbnbs and these options, right?
So I think there is a misunderstanding. So I'm minimalistic, but I'm not really frugal. Like,
okay.
So I mean, if you just watch my private life, I'm pretty much frugal from the outside perspective, but I still just use Apple products, right? For example, is an Apple product frugal? I don't know, right?
It depends, whatever that means to you, whatever gives you value.
So for example, if I'm traveling, I wanted to go like in the beginning of the year to Japan with my girlfriend for 3 weeks, but we couldn't go, obviously, right?
Sure.
But I mean, this travel would have cost for us to just for 3 weeks 10,000 francs. This is not pretty much frugal. We could do the same for half of it, but I do say you can spend money there when you get the benefit out of it. And I like to travel, and for me, traveling needs to be smooth, right? And I like it when I have a nice view or whatever. But I don't take the most expensive one. I take a reasonable one. So hey, I like it how it looks. It's at a good location, and then I pay maybe instead of the Airbnb, which is per night, I don't know, 70 francs, I pay for the hotel, which is 190 francs per night, which is okay for me. There is some sweet spot, right? Okay, and that's how I view it. And I think you need to always see it in relation to your income.
Yeah, of course.
So, for example, this is always what I say is, for example, pizza, right? Here in Switzerland, pizza is like 20 francs. I could say if I want to save time, I just order everyday pizza every day. To lunch, dinner, pizza, right? 20 francs. You would say, what? That's 40 francs per day just for pizza and eating, and then maybe you eat some snacks. That's a lot of money, right? It's not frugal at all. But what if I tell you I earn, when I work an hour, an example, I would need to cook an hour, I earn in an hour 500 francs. So now tell me, am I frugal or not?
Yeah.
If I eat everyday pizza, right? But I don't do this now because pizza is unhealthy, right?
Sure.
But
Pizza
just for
diet.
example, so you need to see it in relation and how much your time can leverage, right? So that's the thing I think which a lot of frugalists don't take into consideration because they just focus on saving, but they don't see that the potential on earning is like so much higher that you cannot save as much as I'm earning.
And they forget how much their time is worth as well. It's interesting for me to see when you have these deal pages, and then you have like, okay, they have a slice of free cheesecake somewhere, and you have hundreds of people lining up and waiting for hours to get one slice of cheesecake for free.
But if it's fun, then it's good.
If it's fun, it's another thing. But if you're gonna save, I don't know, you're gonna save €5 or something like this if you drive through town for 1 hour to pick something up instead of ordering it online, then it's not really worth it. And it's a trap that I also fell into in the past. And now it's like, okay, how much is my time worth?
But if it's fun, then it's fine. But if it's not fun and you're just doing to save it, then it's questionable if you can. I mean, if you don't have any money and you need to eat, then it's something else. But if you have the money, then so then you should think about it. You maybe do something else, and then you earn more, and then you can just buy it.
So thank you very much, Thomas. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you have a really busy schedule. Try to relax a bit as well, and just maybe plan a vacation when it's possible. I think in Switzerland, the situation is relatively good as far as I know. I think it's like Austria, Germany, so it's okay-ish.
I think so, but like the thing is, we still want to go to Japan, but it takes probably next year maybe, or maybe end of the year. We have to see.
Yeah, we would also like to go back to Thailand, but we have to wait when it can change really quickly. Right now, it's difficult to plan any vacation, and the grandma in Italy and stuff. So let's see. I hope everybody got a lot of value out of it, as I did as well. Whenever I talk to you, hopefully we can meet again in person soon. By the way, your English was excellent. So
really,
no worries.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you. So it was really a pleasure to speak with you again. I mean, last time we really spoke was in Riga, right?
Yeah.
So maybe next year at Invest probably, or hopefully if their events then are allowed, right? So like the big events, I hope so. And then we will see us there, or maybe some different video, right? Or just tell me if you're in Switzerland sometimes, in Zurich.
That would be great. That would be cool. By the way, tell everybody where we can find you. I'm going to link everything in the description.
So basically, you can find me everywhere on sparkojote.ch or on YouTube as Thomas or Thomas der Sparkojote, but it's all in German, unfortunately. So, and on Facebook, Instagram, it's all Sparkojote, or even you can Google it, you will find it immediately. There is no one else called like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Thomas. And yeah, hopefully we see each other again soon. And yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
There you have it. I hope you enjoyed my video interview with Thomas Kovac. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Also, if you'd like to support me or Thomas, you can find all the links in the description below, including the link to his YouTube channel, which you should definitely check out, especially if you understand a bit of German. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful week, and until next time.